Now that's how you make an impression. Hello everybody, welcome to Creative Gaming, the show where I inject a bit of RNG into my playthroughs, either for challenge purposes or just a new way to play the game. It's time to tackle another big game, Final Fantasy X. Released in 2001, this Final Fantasy was the first main entry for the PlayStation 2. The first PlayStation had the juggernauts of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, so the bar had been set pretty high. The 10th entry in the series had a lot to live up to, as well as push visuals and storytelling to new heights for video games. And, well, Final Fantasy X did not disappoint. This game is awesome. A great roster of characters, a gripping storyline, fantastic music, some of the best visuals available for video games at that time. It's a home run all around. Today I start a brand new DICE challenge. This game kinda has classes, but not really. It introduces the sphere grid, a new unique progression system for the characters. It has a bit of the appeal of a board game, it's pretty cool. The game doesn't feature levels in the traditional sense. This sphere grid is where you will learn your spells and abilities, increase your stats, and pretty much everything. Your characters are normally locked within their own section of the grid, so there is a section for white magic, one for black magic, etc. Your characters can eventually move into other sections of the grid, and you can grow them however you wish. As such, your roster of 7 characters kinda have their own roles or classes, but they can eventually learn everything on the sphere grid if you want, if you have the patience. So here are my rules for this playthrough. I will be rolling a 6-sided die to decide each class of the characters. So rolling a 1 would give me the Time Warrior class, which is Tidus, the main character's originally intended class. Rolling a 2 will be the White Mage, which is Yuna's intended class. A 3 will be the Black Mage, which is Lulu's. A 4 will be the Debuffer class, which is usually associated with Wakka. A 5 will be the Thief class, originally associated with Riku. And finally, a 6 will be the Warrior or Samurai class, associated with Orin. I will allow myself one cheat or class reroll. I can only use this after I rolled the die to determine a class. If I'm not satisfied with the class I rolled, I can use this cheat just once to roll again. I might use this cheat if I roll the same class for like the 3rd time or something. There's no use in having 3 white mages or whatever, so that could be a scenario where I use my cheat. This is the remaster on the Switch, so I will be playing the Expert Grid version. That's the version where characters aren't locked into their section, so you can give them whatever class you want. I will roll the die as the characters get access to the grid. Without further delay, let's begin. I remember when I first played this game, I was ready to get blown away, and blown away I was. This opening scene is a little calmer than what we had seen in the last few Final Fantasy games. These character models looked awesome for the time. Today, they look a little creepy, like moving plastic mannequins. Obviously, now we are several console generations later, so obviously things have improved. We start off in Zanarkand, a technologically advanced futuristic city, and this is our main character, Tidus. One thing that's weird, everybody, including myself, thought that his name was pronounced Tidus. The devs admitted that they wanted to make water a key element and visual in this game, so it would have made sense to call him Tidus, as in tide. But nope, apparently it's pronounced Tidus, so I will call him that in this playthrough. It's established that Tidus seems to be some sports star, signing a ball and having some fans. New to this series was also voice acting and fully voiced characters. Again, we were impressed at the time, although the dialogue sounds a little wooden and stilted today.
Oh, if I score a goal, I'll, do this. That will mean it was for you, okay? What seat?
Ace block in the front row! 5th from the right!
Got it.
The voice actors themselves do a great job, but the interaction between the characters doesn't flow well, it doesn't feel natural. I think it's worse in this early part of the game. It seems to get better as the game goes on. Or maybe it's just that I love this game so much that I don't notice this later in the game because I'm so captivated by the story. These full motion videos still look great today, they hold up pretty well. So cool. So Tidus is the star of Blitzball. It's kind of a soccer, rugby game played inside a gigantic fishbowl. Characters in this world can breathe underwater, apparently, or hold their breaths for several minutes. We now cut to a mysterious character. He seems ominous, and at first we don't know if he's a villain or what, but he sees a gigantic sphere of water forming in the distance. The city is attacked and the sports tournament cut short. So the mysterious man is Orin, apparently an older friend of Tidus. Orin seems to know what's going on. This is a giant creature called Sin. We don't see what it actually looks like yet, but Sin is a gigantic, imposing, intimidating creature. It can do virtually anything, from spawning creatures to shooting lasers to destroying entire cities, you name it. And now the game gives us our first battle.
My old man?
This game uses a battle system called the Conditional Turn-Based Battle, or CTB. It's a bit different than the Active Time Battle system, or ATB, used in many of the previous Final Fantasies. In a way, it's kind of a simplified version of the ATB. Instead of time always progressing and you having to quickly flip through the menu to choose an attack, it shows you the anticipated order of attack turns between you and your enemies. This allows you to plan for specific strategies in advance. This creature actually only casts Demi, a spell that cuts your HP in half. It actually can't kill you, so don't waste too many potions. We are also introduced to overdrives, this game's version of the limit breaks. Pretty much the same concept, and different characters have different overdrive powers. Shit, my HP is pretty low right now. I don't know if you can actually get a game over in this part of the game.
Only Dylan would die in a game's pre-tutorial.
So, a giant butthole in space attempts to suck everything in it. It seems to be doom for our characters. Some people find Tidus a bit annoying. I don't really mind him. Yeah, he's an overly excited young man at times. And yes, there is some cheesy dialogues and or deliveries here and there. But overall, he's an okay protagonist. So our hero finds himself in some water and some rubble. The first time playing this game, I actually thought he was in the ruins of his city, but that's not the case. There is actually another language in this game called the Al-Bed language. Basically, each letter of the alphabet is changed to another letter. So there are some signs and dialogues that you don't understand in the game, but you can find primers, books that reveal each letter. So eventually you can read anything in Al-Bed. If you have other save files, you can actually compound all the primers from every file you found, and you can read the early dialogues too. It's an interesting way to hide information and secrets in the game. Some more fighting, and we end up inside the abandoned temple.
I had made it out of the frying pan and into the freezer.
After finding a couple of items to make a fire, you get attacked by another creature. But luckily some help arrives. Oh wow, this looks very Borderland-esque.
You on my side? Cool!
She helps you in, the famous Final Fantasy fanfare. But wait, doesn't seem like these are friends after all. So in typical Final Fantasy fashion, you don't have a ton of gameplay in this early portion. A lot of this is story setup, but do stick with the game, I promise it gets good. You're taken on a ship and are forced on an errand. But before going, you get a tutorial of the sphere grid. Basically, as you win battles, you gain what are called sphere levels. Think of these as numbers on dice. This number allows you to move from node to node. So as I said before, it's very board game-like. Just traveling on the board isn't enough though, you need to activate the nodes. In battles, you gain power spheres and ability spheres, and these are what you need. You can activate any node connecting to the one you're on, not just the one you're standing on. So I think this is a good time for my first dice roll, deciding the class of Tidus. I'll bring up the roll results again, and let's see what I roll for Tidus. I roll a 2. 2 is the White Mage class. Alright, so Tidus will learn all of the healing spells in this game. He might be physically weak later on. Since I'm at my starting point, I can activate nearby nodes, even if Cheer is technically not in the White Mage class. So here we go. Now I need to find the location of the white magic on the sphere grid. Okay, so it's the lower right here. I'll keep that in mind. I get my first Albed primer here, so the Ys will turn into As. You have to keep a sharp eye out for these primers. This one was easy to spot, but sometimes they blend in with the background, or might even be partially obstructed by another object. They don't have a glow or anything, so you can easily miss them. I don't think I've ever found all 26 primers in a single playthrough. We now go underwater with the mysterious young lady. This is where it dawns on you that, damn, these people can really breathe underwater for a long time. Oh shit. That glass shatter scares the crap out of me every time I start a new playthrough of this game. This girl has a couple of abilities that we don't, steal and use, which allows her to use special items like grenades. We're inside a sunken ship, which, spoiler alert, will be our flying ship much later in the game. We now have this squid boss. Again, they play around with special trigger commands here. The squid usually swims out of your reach. At first you get the standby command, which makes you idle and recover 50 hit points. The squid charges at you afterwards though for considerable damage. After he does this a couple of times, you get a new trigger command, pincer attack, where you both go surround the creature. So these trigger commands can put a new twist on battles. We don't see these very often though. I think there are only 4 or 5 other occasions that we get trigger commands. So we beat the squid and head back to the surface. The young lady, whose name is Riku, gives you some food and you start chatting. And this is where a major plot twist is thrown at you. My mind was blown here the first time I played this.
I'm a blitzball player.
Yeah, there is no Xanarkand anymore. Sin destroyed it 1,000 years ago.
Huh? What do you mean, 1,000 years ago? But I saw Sin attack Xanarkand. You're saying that happened 1,000 years ago? No way.
I thought this was a really great plot idea. A giant creature carries you 1,000 years into the future, and you see the world in the aftermath of its continuous rampage. Now, for those of you who know this game, we know that that's not exactly what's going on here. I don't want to spoil the plot here, but for the moment, this is what we believe, and it seems plausible within this game world. I'm slowly making my way towards the White Mage area. The highly advanced technological city of Xanarkand. It's interesting to think that it's a holy place in ruins now, and it makes you anticipate your trip there. Unfortunately, the ship gets attacked by Sin, and Tidus gets literally flushed down the toilet. Luckily, he's still alive. He wakes up on the beach and gets hit by a blitzball. Some nice fellas ask if he's okay, and Tidus feels like things are looking up. Be sure to get this very important item on the right side. You get the Moon Crest, and for most of the game you don't even know what it does. It's part of a side quest to obtain the most powerful weapons in the game. This is one of the things I don't like about Final Fantasy X. Each of your characters has a legendary weapon they can obtain, but getting each is a combination of several side quests and sometimes bullshit minigames. It's some of the hardest work you'll ever do for superior weapons in a game. It's way too early to get into the details, but I think I've only ever obtained 1 or 2 of the fully upgraded legendary weapons. I just didn't have the patience for the amount of bullshit. Chocobo races, chasing butterflies. The bad memories are coming back to me. Those of you familiar with this game know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, we've met Waka, captain of his blitzball team. He's impressed with your skills, and he becomes kind of a big brother to Tidus. I like Waka, very nice dude. It's funny how the main characters have pretty good facial expressions, but secondary or NPC characters look like a face painted on a balloon. Waka confirms the story about Xanarkin being destroyed 1,000 years ago. You learn that Sin apparently hates technology and does everything it can to destroy it. So humanity has lived in fear and had to live with limited technology for the last millennia. Again, fantastic idea for a
We
plot.
must always repent for our sins. That's important.
What's the big idea?
We arrive in Besaid. There are little nuances that I like too. Waka shows you the proper way to pray, and Tidus realizes that this prayer is the same sign for victory in Blitzball. So Blitzball has remained all these years as a symbol of fun and distraction from the doom and gloom of Sin. You get acquainted with the locals, learn about the Crusaders, and eventually Waka tells you to visit the temple.
The temple summoner.
Oh, what's a high summoner?
Here we have another dream sequence. It's evident that Tidus doesn't like his father and has rage against him.
You'll never be able to tell him how much you hate him.
Back to the temple, Waka tells you that a summoner is undergoing a trial and hasn't returned. Tidus decides to piss on 1,000 years tradition of not interfering and enters the trial. And here we get to my second big gripe with this game, the friggin' cloister of trials. Blech. They're supposed to be these kinda puzzles that change the pace of the game, but they kinda suck. They have several spheres that you can pick up, just one at a time, and different holders where you can put each. You have the glyph sphere, which is supposed to make a glyph appear somewhere when you put it in the right holder. A destruction sphere, which can destroy a wall or something, leading to a treasure within the trial. And some other spheres that might do something else. They're annoying because they're not really puzzles that make you think. They're more trial and error. You just put spheres in different slots and see what happens or if they affect anything. But you can't really predict what'll happen. This first trial is pretty easy, but they get harder as the game goes on. In a sense, I can understand why developers have added these. Final Fantasy X is a pretty linear game. There's no world map, so you're usually going in one direction. Battles, cutscene, boss, rinse and repeat. Final Fantasy XIII really got roasted for this reason, but this cliche is present in this game as well. I can understand that the devs wanted to add something different to change the gameplay and pace for the player, but these trials just aren't fun. They feel more like a chore, like, oh damn, I have to do the damn dishes again. By the way, make sure you get this treasure chest. God, get this treasure chest. If you miss it, you'll regret it forever. Again, no spoilers, but you might lock yourself out of one of the best items in the game later on. So just trust me. So we arrive at the Chamber of the Faith, where we meet a couple of Waka's friends, Lulu and Kamari. We also meet the summoner Yuna, and potential love interest for our main character.
I've done it. I have become a summoner.
We see Yuna summon her first creature, known in this game as the Aeons. This is Valifor, a flying creature that you can summon in battle. So these are what the Cloister of Trials are for, acquiring different Aeons for summons.
Victory! 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 Victory!
Ah, here's some good Final Fantasy X cheese.
From the summoner! You're a bad man! Stay away from the summoner! Stay away from the summoner! Stay away from the summoner!
I think Tidus and Yuna are cute together, in spite of some major cheese that comes later on. Another dream about Jack, Tidus' father.
You can't even catch a ball!
Now we're introduced to Lulu, a kinda gloomy, white-skinned, gothic type girl. She looks like she came right out of the Addams Family. Actually, Lulu seems a bit gruff at first, but she turns out to be one of the best characters in the game. She is the wisest member of our party, other than maybe Auron. She is the de facto black mage of this game, though I'll still have to roll the die to determine her class for this playthrough. You also learn about Chapu, Waka's brother, and Lulu's love interest, who died a year ago. It's time to leave Besaid with our little group.
Whoa! You're giving this to me?
That's the sword you gave Chapu.
Well, he never used it.
You really don't need all that luggage.
This isn't a vacation, Yuna.
I guess you're right.
We get more tutorial on battles. The game teaches you that certain characters are better against certain types of enemies. Tidus is normally a speedy attacker with decent hit percentage, so he is effective against nimble creatures like wolves. Then we have a flyer. So Waka is more effective here because his weapon is a blitzball, a long-range weapon. Now we have a battle against an elemental creature, so we learn how elemental spells work. Fire versus ice and lightning versus water. It's funny here how they've given Lulu a dialogue if she uses the wrong spell.
That was a bad example.
So the game has kind of a rock, paper, scissors feel to it, where you switch party members in and out to put them to work against a particular enemy, and it works quite well. Again, there are nuances here that a first-time player wouldn't pick up on. Yuna's prolonged looking at the scenery. Tidus doesn't understand either, but there is a reason. Here we get introduced to Kimari. We fight a short battle against him. I don't know why really. I guess he's reluctant to have Tidus with the group. Kimari is kind of a controversial character with fans. A lot of people don't like him. I think he's a good character in this game world. He doesn't talk much at first and his story is brief, but we eventually learn that he was kind of excommunicated by his tribe, the Ronso. He has suffered bullying at the hands of his peers to the point that they broke his horn. A simple story about bullying but very heartfelt. But I think the controversy comes from his growth on the sphere grid, and I will talk more about that in the next episode.
Kimari Ronso, of the Ronso tribe. He's learned the fiend's way of fighting.
Here we get a battle that shows you how summoning Aeons work. Aeons have their own life bars and abilities, so it's like using a different party for battle. Alright, I think I'll stop it here for today, but in the next episode I will roll the die for the new characters that I have in my party. We will see what class they will get. Will Lulu remain a black mage? Will Yuna still be a white mage or have another class? After the classes are decided, we will board the boat to get to Kilika.
The cat didn't get a lot of script this episode, Dylan.
Sorry, Cat, I had a lot of exposition to get through today.
Well, fine, but you are paying me by episode, not by the number of words.
Keep gaming, everyone.